an investor. It's been hived off. So Philips is focused predominantly in healthcare. And again, when I say healthcare, you would still see personal health devices. Some of the products that we do believe will play a key role in the health continuum, right from prevention to diagnosis to treatment to actually to the home. Any product that touches your body has a potential to play a role in your healthcare. So you will see some products that may not make sense at this point in time in the consumer space, like the shavers. But trust me, a few years down the line, you will see how this actually gets connected to the health continuum. So the reason what I'm saying, so and on one spectrum you have all the personal devices. On the other spectrum, we have the big irons. The MRI, CTs, interventional X-ray, ultrasound, nuclear medicine. So it's a very actually complex problem, for us to actually plan what we need to do to ride on this new wave of Industry 4.0 or smart factory. Right? And to complicate the matter, we are on a spree of acquisition. Right? And, after hiving off lighting, we again want to boost our revenue and go back to the original levels. So if you see almost every week or every couple of weeks, there is some small or large acquisition that the company is doing. So again, there are new factories, new R&D teams, new processes actually coming into the fold. And to complicate the fact even more further, you name the place in the world, there is a factory. 80 to 100 factories across the globe, 50 R&D centers across the globe. So the reason I'm actually explaining the complexity of the problem is I think many of you would also notice it when you're working with your customers or in your own company too. Right? And again, the whole approach in the company is to ride on the technologies that are provided by 4.0 with a very, very clear objective to improve the company's agility, flexibility, and innovativeness, riding on the wave that we spoke about. So let me quickly touch on the supply chain, based on the products that we actually look at, right? There are a couple of market trends that we see. One is on the, for example, you see on the left end of the slide, top left end, you see an MRI machine, and more digitization, and the machine become digital is the next wave. Philips products, many of them are digital, but some of them, can become better there. And the differentiation in the product is not so much in the hardware, because some of the technologies like the magnet, the reconstruction, all the hardware, you don't see too much of a differentiation in each of the products, other than taking the digital stream closer and closer to the hardware, because the conversion, you lose a lot of information, which again will directly impact the image quality, which again directly impact what you can diagnose from the image. But the point I was trying to make there was, on one end of the spectrum, you have all the healthcare products, the big irons as we call them, where the product cycle times are longer. Right? And even the development times, if you actually get a new MRI out there in the market, it will take you probably 2 to 3 years. Right? So that's one end of the spectrum. The second end of the spectrum is what you see in our consumer products. Right? Customers, for example, the shaver. The hair dryer, the Philips iron. Customers' needs and requirements keep changing every day. And how do you adapt your whole end-to-end chain? One, the supply chain, and also the order, to the production flow that I spoke to you about. To be able to adapt, to be very nimble, to be able to be flexible to deliver what you actually need to do. So that's a second market trend, that we are seeing and which we need to adapt and deliver to. The third is in terms of the channel itself. All of us, how many of us go to Amazon and Flipkarts and eBays of the world and buy? How many of us? Everybody? Is there anybody who doesn't go? Yeah. So the expectation is when you place the order, you need to get the product in 24 hours. Right? Otherwise you call up the command center and you say, hey, look, I have the product. So the whole end-to-end chain is different for the different types of products we manufacture, and the speed of the end-to-end product delivery, right from order to getting the product to the end customer is crashing. And the need of being flexible and coming down to a particular product is also changing. All of you know of the transition that's happening in the lighting industry. Right? We had the Philips lighting is, I think, a recall for everybody. So let me, though Philips is not a Philips company anymore, but I'm still proud to talk about it. So the Philips, the bulb, the incandescent, or the filament bulb, is 125 years old. We used to manufacture billions of those bulbs every year. It was more a huge batch processing. And I'm sure you would have experienced too, the cost of the product has not gone up. So it's amazing as to how we've been able to manufacture and ensure the cost of the product over a period of time has beat inflation or stayed with regard to inflation, so the cost of the product is the same. But the difference there is when you buy a bulb, you put it in the socket in your house, it lasts for roughly 1,000 hours. So every year you need to replace the bulb, so the cycle time is 1 year. Right? So you buy a new bulb, so that's a cycle time. Now, if you see the LED, you buy an LED, it costs a little more. You put it in the socket in your house, it'll last you for 20, 30 years. So how do you adapt your manufacturing? How do you adapt to this different change that's happening across the industry? From ensuring the costs are same, to be able to manufacture, like I said earlier, a product production line. And that's the demand that we're getting from customers. A shaver with a particular ergonomics, with a particular color, with a particular shape. How do you adapt? You're not there as yet. But how do you adapt the whole chain? And the way we have approached this at Philips, we're still in a journey. We are in the beginning of the journey, let me be honest with you on that. We have not addressed all the problems, we've not solved all the problems, but we have taken a big step in actually moving in the right direction. The approach that we have taken is not just to look at the production system. Right? When I say production system design, not just the end-to-end design, but still trying to integrate or right upstream with the product design, and also looking at talent and people as a holistic approach to be able to solve the problem. Because people will play a very, very key role in this, and that will decide the difference. I was talking to somebody outside, right? I mean, when you're a company, when you're across different cultures, different countries, it's not the technology, it's not the deployment of technology. It's getting all people to think alike, transitioning the mindset, they will follow a process. You tell them it's a process, they'll follow it, right? But in some countries, pardon me if, it's not to offend anybody, but you go to the US, people refer to it as, I will do it my way. Right? You go to Europe, it's highly process-oriented, sometimes over-engineered. You come to India, we are beautiful, we can adapt ourselves to anything. Right? So there's an opportunity. Again, we smile at it, but mind you, in this transition, probably a culture, and I truly believe this. And we as a culture, we can very quickly adapt to new things. And I'll come to it in the end. So let me share a video. I hope it works. Oh, I'm sorry. Even before I get to the video, I think the video is one after this. I hope the video is still there, because we had some challenging issues. Okay. So the approach in terms of the production system design, I'm not going to go into each aspect that is there. Like I mentioned, is a roadmap, is a journey. There are multiple aspects that we're looking at in terms of evolving. What happened?
Philips is already taking the lead in building the factory of the future. A 3D shaver pilot in the Netherlands lets consumers customize their very own.
Sorry about that. Sorry, maybe I clicked. No. Don't do anything, I'll manage it. Yeah, just please let me. Yeah, thank you. So the way we are approaching this, the whole journey and the roadmap, is to look at 5 different aspects which we're trying to bring together. Data, planning, manufacturing, logistics, analytics, big data, and IoT together, right? I mean, for each of these streams, there is a map in terms of how we want to evolve over the period of time, from a foundation factory to being a smart factory, first being connected, And in the end state where we want to be in, which we would see, happening over a period of time across all the factories, is being optimized in planning, having a system where it can actually is intelligent, can develop intelligent products, a smart sensor network, interconnecting the factories like I spoke to you about, and responsive manufacturing. I spoke to you about the production line, not just controlling the robotic arm or the 3D printer in a particular factory, but sensing the different aspects which actually have to trigger a response, making it distributed across all the globe. But overarching to all this, we are also looking at how to rationalize the footprint that we have, manufacturing footprint that we have. You're going to play the video? No, just wait after this. So the second aspect is how do we see this in terms of the high-wage countries and low-wage countries? Now, if you look at the cost of volume and batch and huge volume manufacturing, most of it is, like I mentioned earlier, is moved to low-cost countries like India, China, etc. So it gives you less flexibility but a lower cost. If you have to move to a state where you want to have customized products, flexible products, a flexible production line, different batches of different types of products, different timelines in terms of actually getting it out there. The couple of technologies that we're actually trying to look to actually get there, to move it to the left of the cost axis that we're looking at, are robotics, flexible design, etc. Right? So there are two examples that I want to share. There are two videos that I would like to share. One is where the whole focus is on customizing and making the production line equal to one. And that's a factory which is actually working in the factory. It's a factory in Amsterdam. It's a place called Drachten, where we manufacture our razors, and that's the only factory across the globe that manufactures the razor requirement, the shaver requirement for the whole globe.
Philips Innovation Services develops platforms for Industry 4.0 based on smart robotization. At this moment, we are working on a solution on how to match human capabilities and performance. Our smart robotization solution consists of three key human capabilities to match performance. First, we create the human brain, the controller. Like our brain, it is adaptive, fast, highly flexible, and intelligent. Secondly, we simulate the human eyes by developing a vision system that is adaptive to color and light, works fast, and is free to move. Furthermore, the vision system positions each product so they can lay in arbitrary positions in the tray. Exact product position is communicated to the robot for grasping. Thirdly, we create the human hand. The gripper that we developed for that is universal and flexible with tactile senses. It is able to really feel the task and can work collaboratively in a safe way. Key features of the gripper. 1. Integrated standard vacuum pump and piping, ejector. 2. Hard printed material for mechanical strength and positioning. 3. Soft and flexible printed material for sensitive surfaces, easy exchangeable. 4. 3D printed, fully customized. Like human hands, the gripper is fast and easily exchangeable for product change. It illustrates that smart robots are becoming more like human beings. The prices for these features are decreasing over time. Therefore, robotized production becomes more affordable, more flexible to different product types, and with high reuse of capital, as the systems are reprogrammable. It is our aim to deliver an easy-to-program, easy-to-reuse, reliable and safe robotized platform to accelerate your innovation.
So this is the customized product, and I'll show you another video where it's more consumable. It's part of the sleep and respiratory care business. It's not the consumer business, but the healthcare business, where you need different sizes of the plastic part that you see. You need different batch sizes, and this actually has a huge variability depending on the demand from each of the countries. And it's a very short video.
We have also taken key steps in creating a flexible assembly platform for products that are produced in high volume. In the platform, product carriers can be moved individually. Flexible part wheels are used to create a one-piece manufacturing flow on an automated line. The platform can easily be scaled from one product type to another, from lower to higher speeds and higher volumes.
So as you see, the whole way of designing and the approach towards this is a platform approach. Right? I mean, you're looking at the production management system, you're looking at the platforms that will be there in terms of managing the system for the type of manufacturing that you're trying to do. That's a couple of platforms there. And also in terms of the data and the AI part, we have a platform called HealthSuite Insights. We have another platform called HealthSuite Data Platform. So this helps us aggregate data from multiple sensors, from multiple applications across a manufacturing side or across even the same platform is applied externally in the industry for the solutions that we provide. Not for the manufacturing sector, but in the healthcare solutions that we provide. So the whole approach is towards a platform approach, number one. Number two is, in terms of the process itself, the evolution within Philips has been different in the different areas, right? I mean, if you're looking at the manufacturing processes, still, it's a V model, iterative model in terms of where the processes are evolving. But the whole software development lifecycle, Rani and her team actually drive it across Philips, across the globe, has moved to scaled HR, right? And there's always this challenge of how do you actually marry this? But the point I wanted to make was we involve the manufacturing related requirements. Some of the requirements that are required for smart manufacturing, which does not add any functional value from an end consumer perspective to the product, but play enough value that the requirements have to play a very, very important role in ensuring that this product can be manufactured in a smart factory. Right? A lot of effort goes towards that. Probably if you talk to you maybe 6 months or 1 year down the line, I will tell you what percentage of effort actually goes towards this. We have a well-defined design guideline, and the whole approach and thinking is how do you design for manufacturing assembly. So the whole V model in terms of gathering the requirements, part design, integration design, and all the testing in terms of what you try to do, and integrating with the software cycle is a challenge. And Rani and team are constantly trying to figure out how this needs to be done. There is a list of 20 guidelines, and just to give you an example of a guideline, minimizing the part count. Right? For example, for an MRI, or even for the way you design the product for 3D manufacturing. It has to be more stackable, right? And I've been shown the time, so I'll move very fast. So in terms of competencies, this probably is going to be the biggest challenge. That's the way I see it, right? And the people who work in the manufacturing space are still, it's different, right? I mean, getting them to the digital world is going to be a big challenge, right? And I think this quote which I picked up, we are trying to prepare for jobs on talent that we don't know, on technologies that we don't know for the next couple of decades what's going to come up. So it's going to be a constant and dynamic alignment and adjustment as we go along. The second is, to get the people who work on the shop floor to co-work with robots, because it has to be safe. And how do you train them to actually get there? And the third is, how do you make people think in the production floor and the whole design thinking as to how you, right from the time you conceptualize a product, co-create it along with the customer, to the time that you're actually going to get it out to the end customer. How do you leverage data in the end-to-end continuum of things to ensure the whole value chain and the value that's generated to the end customer is maximized? I see several challenges. I already spoke about some of it. And many of the companies are still struggling because it's, all of us have heard the saying, egg first, chicken first. So you make a business case, invariably management wants return, and I'm sure KPMG must have noticed in many, many companies. They want quick returns, right? I mean, I invest, a couple of $100 million this year, the next 2 years, can I get back? What can I get back? No, right? And you need to have a business case for the evolution rather than for a revolution, right? And that's important, in making the transition. And many companies probably might, not believe in it, so I would see that as a challenge. The second is a strategic roadmap that I spoke to you about, and basing decisions on data. data right the end-to-end chain, because also I have noticed this, when there are multiple factories, multiple countries, the way they interact with each other, the way they share best practices, etc. is, there's a new way of thinking that absolutely is required. Belief and commitment from the CEO and the leadership of the company, right? I mean, people need to understand it's a long-term investment. It's not going to be short-term. You need to invest in people, you need to invest in processes, you need to invest in technology, you need to train talent, you need to develop the ecosystem. Right? And every company needs to invest in that for this revolution that I see has to come. And of course, legal framework on data, right? I mean, we spoke about factories across multiple regions, multiple countries, and privacy of data and how you can, the laws that actually bind the boundaries between countries on how data can be moved around. All of us know about all the conversations that are happening. And again, I come back, when I talk about data and conversation, my mind goes back to Trump. Right? And just to conclude, I think it's going to be a journey. I think a rollicking journey, a huge opportunity for all of us. The approach should be to look at it end to end. How do you maximize and leverage the CapEx investment? How do you make it lean? How do you leverage the technologies that are relevant, not pick up technologies just because they are there? Take a holistic approach. The approach could be different for the different types of products and how do you actually integrate also? And to me, this is a huge opportunity for BSpin to look at, going forward. How do you visualize? How do you stay connected to the transformation that's happening? How do you look at the processes? How do you actually bring this together? And how could we bring our Indian jugaad mind to stay ahead of the game? Yeah? And I'll stop there and thank you so much.
Excuse me, Prasad. Where is the MRI getting made?
Yeah, we have one. I hope I have another minute, it's okay. So, again, it's a very complex question, which I'll try to give a simple answer. We have one factory in Suzhou, in China. There are a set of a particular MRI product that happens out of there. Several parts, for example, the gantry, etc., probably gets assembled there for some of the other global products. And the other factory that manufactures MRI is in Best. Best is a place which is very close to Amsterdam, about 2 hours drive from Amsterdam. But the complication there is the whole software gets run out of here. Yeah, so how do you bring this? Oh, it's the team in Bangalore. I'm proud. I didn't want to make this an occasion to talk about our team, but I can talk about it. So the team in Bangalore is for almost all the imaging products hold most of the technology stack, whether it's premium or the value segment product. So it puts us in the middle of sandwich from both sides. And I'm fortunate that we have a wonderful quality and process team, which is evangelizing in terms of what process should look like globally. So at least there is a seat at the table to actually push things so that the whole end-to-end value chain gets managed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Srinivas Prasad, for this very thought-provoking keynote address. The key takeaways are twofold for the audience, I would say. One is in terms of how manufacturing and smart factories as a concept has brought this much closer to customer than ever before. The second is the kind of benefits that all stakeholders receive, be it the organizations in terms of productivity, be it customers in terms of flexibility, quality, data, and we see through the program for the day, you would see many of these dimensions getting amplified in further sessions on IoT, on security, on data, and so on and so forth. And how, for example, parallels that Srinivas Prasad tried to allude to in terms of how some of those innovation concepts can be applied to software and services. That is indeed thought-provoking and a place where much of convergence happens. And I'm sure that we would be able to leverage several of the good practices and innovative principles and transfer to the other worlds that we operate in. Thank you very much, sir, for this keynote address. May I now request Devendra to hand over the momentum in appreciation for these things.
Board meeting. Thank you, Mr. Srinivas, for an insightful address to the gathering. We will now break for tea and assemble back here in 15 minutes. You can enroll yourself for BSpin membership using the forms available at registration desk. And while you have your tea, please do visit the stalls put up by Maitri Siemens and PM Power Consulting. Thank you and looking forward to see you here again.
Which are the company closure?